Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'll be honest with you, I thought we would be talking about a resounding win for those who were in favor of the new entertainment district and arena for the Coyotes on this large parcel of landfill on Tempe Town Lake we've been talking so much about. Instead, tonight we find ourselves asking the question, what now? After Tempe voters overwhelmingly rejected the proposal, essentially leaving the Coyotes with very few or no options when it comes to staying here long term. So in 5 to 10 years, will this look like a great move, rejecting the project, or will this be remembered as a missed opportunity as a toxic landfill continues to sit empty, generating nothing for the city? We have team coverage as we take a deep dive into this issue. We begin with Chase Golightly, who has reactions to the loud and clear statement delivered by Tempe voters last night. Chase joins us live from what would have been the site of the arena. And Chase, why did it ultimately fail?
Well, Mark, from voters we spoke with yesterday at the polls to voters today, there really were a variety of reasons. What we heard a lot was many people thought this deal was really just too good to be true. They also said they didn't like the tax breaks that the development group for this project would receive from the city. Now, while the majority of voters did vote to keep this landfill a landfill, they told us today they still want to see some sort of transformation with these 46 acres. It would have brought jobs, homes, a hockey arena, and the Arizona Coyotes to Tempe. But the majority of voters decided Tuesday night that wasn't going to happen.
We thought it would be close. It wasn't close.
Former City Council member Lauren Kuby, who was against the Tempe Entertainment District being built on these 46 acres off of Rio Salado Parkway and Priest Drive, admits the 12-point difference that led to all three propositions failing was a surprise.
I think it was a combination of the Morello Group's history combined with the fact that subsidies for sports arenas are just not popular anymore.
She's talking about the Coyotes' history in Glendale, where for years they and the city actually lost money while playing there. There's also the huge tax break the Coyotes' development arm would get from Tempe. Don Penich-Thacker with Tempe First, who campaigned against the project, believes it also came down to voters not trusting what was being put on the table, including the promise Tempe taxpayers would not have to pay a cent for this massive undertaking.
I think that some of the promises seemed a little too far-fetched and too good to believe.
So what's going to happen with this land? Tempe Mayor Corey Woods told us over the phone the city is now going back to the drawing board.
And try to figure out exactly what another project might be that would work well for that 46 acres.
Penich-Thacker brought up a few ideas.
Nature preserves and, our own Central Park, to people clear on the opposite, saying let's have some really innovative development.
As long as Tempe residents are involved in that conversation.
We need to look at all options, put all options on the table, which is frankly what we should have done in the first place.
Now, the mayor said those conversations about the future of this land will involve the public, and the city council anticipates those conversations will start this fall.
Chase, we know that some Tempe leaders and the Coyotes said last night that they were disappointed by what happened. What are they saying today?
Well, Mark, I did reach out to a spokesperson for Javier Gutierrez. He's the president and CEO of the Coyotes organization. They said he's not doing any interviews today. However, we did see a statement that was sent out to fans saying that they really do want to stay here in Arizona. In fact, in that statement, Gutierrez said that they're reaching out to other organizations here in the valley and trying to make some sort of connection to see if there are other sites here. As for city leadership, yesterday before polls closed, they sent out a press release saying they were going to hold a press conference this afternoon, win or lose. They were going to discuss about what's going to happen next. However, just hours before that press conference was set to start, they canceled it. We're live in Tempe right now. Chase Golightly, 12 News.
All right, Chase, thanks. In the end, as it should be, the decision on the project was left in the hands of the voters. Now, keep in mind, there were a lot of voices in the mix leading up to the vote, primarily Phoenix, which did not want the project. Today, we asked Tempe voters about the outcome.
I kind of wish it did in a small way, solely because entertainment's such a huge district here in Tempe. That's like 90% of the reason that people come here in the first place.
It would have brought more jobs. It also would have helped with our tax issue here. But for say it's crowded, we're packed. We have no more space.
My building is right next to the landfill would be a lot nicer and bring a lot more, I think, revenue to the city of Tempe.
I was torn before I voted. I could see both sides. I thought that that had a lot that it could bring to our community, but then I thought there's possibly a lot that could destroy our small Tempe community.
Be a real loss. I'm a Coyotes fan myself, so I'd hate to see them go.
I don't imagine they'll stay in Arizona now. I think they'll probably move on. And really, when you think of ice hockey in Arizona, what do you think? Right? It's not usually a place you think where ice hockey would be successful.
Now, if you're someone who likes to place a bet now and then, Smart Money says now that this has been shot down, the Coyotes are on their way out. Not next year. We know they're going to play at Mullet next year, but within the foreseeable future. As to where, some of the cities already being mentioned include Houston, Kansas City, Quebec City, or Atlanta. Let's continue our coverage with Team 12's Cameron Cox with more on the future of the Coyotes. Cam?
Mark, throwing out those names, the internet's already storming. It's going to be a crazy place as the rumor mill runs wild. Are the Coyotes leaving Arizona? The latest is the team does not know yet. They're trying to find a plan B to stay put in the Valley in Arizona. But in the meantime, we know exactly where they're playing next season. Mullet Arena will be their home. As to what happens after that, who knows? The Coyotes had a winning record there last year. They have potentially 3 years left on that deal at Mullet, a deal that was originally signed with hopes of moving down the street to that brand new Tempe arena. Now that's not going to happen. Staying at the Mullet long term is not an option because they won't make any money. Right now the team is searching for that plan B. The interest is moving quickly online. Howdy Houston, look at that. Just doesn't look right. Like Houston, Atlanta, Quebec City, Salt Lake City, all looking for an NHL team. Also add Kansas City to that list. Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes just tweeting this. KC Coyotes has a nice ring to it. NHL, what y'all thinking? What Mahomes says in that city usually happens. KC, by the way, did have an NHL team back in the 70s. They are currently the New Jersey Devils. Options here in Arizona. Do they go crawling back to Glendale? That's a very slim chance. Both sides have moved on. After the Yotes left, there was also plans to renovate all the hockey out of Gila River Arena. What about the old home of Phoenix Rising on the reservation across the street from Tempe Town Marketplace? Remember in 2016, former Mayor Greg Stanton wanted to build a Suns, Mercury, and Coyotes arena in downtown on the old side of the convention center. What about the old Fiesta Mall in Mesa? It's been closed since 2018. Do they call Suns owner Matt Ishbia? See about playing in downtown again. The Footprint Center would have to be renovated to fix all those terrible sightlines. Also, I just don't see the Suns lining up to share any money with the Coyotes. Bottom line, fans just want to see them stay here.
We've shot ourselves in the foot a lot. However, there's also this outside thing of it just seems to something always comes up over the next hill. And you're like, how did that happen?
When I grew up here, as a kid, there was no Coyotes here. And there was no opportunity for me to learn how to skate or learn how to play the game. And now it just exploded in the last few years. And, the potential of them leaving is it's going to have a ripple effect. It's going to last a long time.
Mark, I have a couple of things when I think of this vote. Number one, I really wonder what that plot of land is going to look like in 5 to 10 years. You just wonder if anything's ever going to be done with it to this magnitude. And number two, I think this message was pretty clear to the Coyotes that communities just don't trust them. After all the years of bad owners and bad decisions, even when Alex Morello took over and the bills that weren't paid right away out there at Gila River Arena, it just seems like there's too much bad to overcome, and who knows what they can work out to stay here in the Valley.
Yeah, there's a lot of culpability to go around. Let me ask you one question before you go, Cam. In the end, if they leave, did we fail them or did they fail us?
Mark, I think in the end, years and years of the Coyotes failed this city. If they would have cleaned up some of those bad owners and bad decisions, you wouldn't be looking at this. Also, to move to Glendale in the beginning just to seem like the wrong move. They could have moved to Scottsdale. Yeah. So many better moves, staying in downtown Phoenix. It seemed like the Coyotes failed this city over and over again when they had chances to make it right and just never did. Multiple owners did it. It's not just blame on one person. Multiple owners had all hands in this in failing this city.
Yeah. All right, Cam, thanks. Well, there were always pros and cons to this project. The pros, It would have been privately funded, so no tax implications for residents. Yes, the Coyotes would get massive tax breaks, but that land right now is generating nothing for the city. In fact, at some point, someone is going to have to pay to clean up that landfill, and it won't be cheap. Also, there's no denying that this has been, as Cam mentioned, a very troubled franchise, with the exception of the first few years in the Valley when they were wildly successful. And speaking of success, think about this. Had they been more successful on the ice, maybe the project would have passed with flying colors. But when a team is constantly in a rebuilding mode and can't pay its bills, you can understand how people might be hesitant to sign on, even though this did seem to be a good deal. In the end, it bothers me that cities like Nashville, Las Vegas, and Columbus, Ohio can support hockey, and we either can't or won't. As we take deeper dives on topics on 12 News at 6, we want you to be a part of these discussions. To submit a story tip or a topic that you think is worth more coverage, send us an email to connect@12news.com.